What's good, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is your boy John J Gaming on the mic, and today coming at you guys with another Madden 21 experiment. Now, last week what I did was I got the slowest players in all of Madden, put them on one team and see how they did, and now we're gonna change things up. What we're gonna do this time, we are gonna get the fastest people in all of Madden, get them on one team and see what we can do. And we're gonna have one heck of a squad, man. I am excited to see what we can do. But before I get into it, obviously make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy the content on this channel, and as well as you have to be brand new as well and like what you see. Also, shout out to V-Dub Productions. He is a Patreon member for this channel, and he suggested this video, so you can thank him for this. So with all that being said, let's check out the starting lineup that was put together for the fastest people in all of Madden. And man, we have some stars on this football team. We got Lamar Jackson at quarterback right now, 93 overall. Tyreek Hill is at wide receiver, he's a 96 overall, with Marquise Brown on the other side. So some very good receivers, that Lamar Jackson's going to work with, and he's got a great offensive line as well. Only exception maybe this Lindstrom guy, who's starting at right guard, only a 73 overall, but the rest of his line looks fantastic. And we have Evan Ingram as well at tight end. He looks like a stud. So definitely a superstar offense that has certainly been put together here today. Now defensively, we don't have any superstars with the the exception of this guy right here in Daryl Hunter. He's an 89 overall kind of guy, only 25 years old too. And other than that, there's no other stars on this defense, despite having very good speed. But at the same time, though, there's a lot of good players on this team. Maybe not a lot of names that you may know of, but guys that can definitely come in and get the job done. Some very solid players on defense. So I'm real excited to see what we can do. Only thing left now is sim the first 4 weeks and see what happens. Okay, so what we did do is we simmed the first 4 weeks, and this is what went down. We actually lose our first game, so surprisingly we will not be going not only 16-0, but we're also having in the very first game as well. And it's just one of those things where the Chargers was really strong at the end of the first half, and same thing with the second half as well, just doing enough in order to get the job done. Just seeing what they did in debut with the squad. Lamar Jackson had 3 touchdowns and a pick, whereas a lot of Bengals actually touched the ball as well, but Lamar Jackson didn't run it, which I thought was really strange that he didn't have a single carry. So I thought that was really interesting for sure. And then Raheem Mostert led the team in receiving yards as well. So really odd for a simulation, but it's whatever. We did tie the Cleveland Browns at Cleveland, which, okay, that's also interesting, but did finish strong, did beat the Eagles, and then did actually blow out the Jacksonville Jaguars 49-17. Now, this is what the stats are currently looking like, and Lamar Jackson's doing pretty solid as a passer. 71% completion percentage and 12 touchdowns versus 3 interceptions, which is really efficient. Running game, doing pretty decent well. Beretta and Raheem Mostert are each separating those duties. Lamar Jackson only has 1 touchdown on the ground, which is again really interesting that he has so few carries in these first 4 games of the season. For the receivers, Evan Ingram's leading the team in receiving yards with 245, but he doesn't have the most touchdowns. Now goes to Henry Ruggs III, rookie, who's doing a pretty good job showing out. 200 yards, 4 touchdowns off of 15 catches. Definitely a red zone target for sure. Then a bunch of other guys got into the end zone. Surprisingly, Tyreek Hill doesn't have that many catches either, which again is really strange, but that's Madden 21 logic for you. Defensively, Deion Jones is leading the team in tackles. He has 36 tackles, which is far above everybody else, and that's nice to see from a middle linebacker. Danielle Hunter, who is probably the best player on this defense, he has 5 total sacks this season. So definitely off to a really hot start for sure. Darnell Savage also has multiple interceptions to his name already, with Denzel Ward and Dante Jackson each getting the ball, so that's nice to see. And then we do have a forced fumble from Deion Jones as well, but we did not recover it, and it looks like we did not have any touchdown or defensive touchdowns just yet. So that being said, we'll go ahead and sim the next 4 games and see what happens. So like I said, we did simulate the next 4 games, and this is when it ended up going down. We were off to a pretty fast start in this part of the season, destroying the Ravens convincingly, beating the Colts convincingly, and then we took a close loss against the Cleveland Browns, and then lose to the Titans by 12 points. So definitely struggled towards those last couple of games. Defensively, giving up 21 points to the Titans, which is definitely concerning. But the offense is definitely looking good. There's no question about that. Meanwhile, on an individual basis, Lamar Jackson's doing pretty darn good. 27 touchdown passes already, completing 68% of those passes. Already over 2,000 yards passing, on pace for maybe like a 4,500 yard kind of season. Close to 60 touchdowns. That would be really interesting to see from Lamar Jackson, because he wasn't, they say he wasn't known for his passing going out of college, so that would be ironic. Running game, Matt Breida and Raheem Mostert still kind of share the backfield duties, and they're both putting in that work for sure. Although Jonathan Taylor has multiple touchdowns as well. He's got 2 on the season as a rookie and as a 3rd string running back, so that's good to see. Receiving, Evan Ingram is continuing to have a great season, over 500 yards catching with 3 touchdowns. Henry Ruggs III has 7 touchdowns already, which is insane. Tyreek Hill's not far behind him with 6, and then backup tight end Darren Waller, he's got 4 touchdowns to his name as well. Defensively, Deion Jones still leads the team in tackles by a long shot. He has 61 total tackles, with most of them being solo tackles. And then Daniel Hunter is still rocking and rolling. He's got 8 sacks, averaging 1 sack a game. You want to talk about putting in some work in the NFL, that's how you do it. And then Josh Allen from Kentucky, he already has 5.5 sacks as well, so no shame from him as well. Darnell Savage also added to his interception total, so now he has 3 interceptions on the season. Dante Jackson also added to that as well. He's got 2 to his name, so got 2 guys with multiple interceptions thus far this season. And finally, there was another forced fumble that was caused by Isaiah Simmons, but again, it looks like we did not recover. And we also still don't have any defensive touchdowns yet in this simulation. So, only thing left now, controller decided to die out briefly, is gonna simulate these next 4 games and see what happens and see where we are in the standings as well, since I'm pretty sure we should at the very least be in the playoff hunt. But yeah, let's see what happens in this 3rd quarter of the season. Alright, so we get off of our bye week, and after that bye week, we went on an absolute tear. We beat the Steelers on the road. We beat the Washington football team on the road. Then we blow out the Giants, as well as do the same thing to the Dolphins, capping off a 4-game winning streak. That means we'll probably be looking good in the standings, so go ahead and check that out. So in the AFC North Division, even though the Baltimore Ravens don't have Lamar Jackson, they are still having a phenomenal year at 10-1-1. We're a couple of games behind them. We haven't clinched anything yet, but it looks like we are the 4 seed currently. Although, actually, now that I've mentioned it, that was for the entire NFL. We're actually in the 2 seed right now. The problem is, because the Ravens are winning our division right now, if they clinch, even with our great record, we could be going to the wild card. So got some work to do. I think we play the Ravens one more time, so we'll definitely need to win that, and hopefully the Ravens lose a couple more games, we can continue our hot streak. So that being said, going back to the simulating these last 4 games, and let's see what our playoff seed is, if we go to the playoffs or not. So here we are in the standings, to close out the season, and we slipped a little bit, lost. We went 2-2 in our last 4 games, but we do enough to make it into the playoffs, and it looks like we might be playing against the Kansas City Chiefs. Although it's crazy, we were just 1 game away from clinching the AFC North, playing between the Browns and the Ravens. So like, we have a great record, and we still found a way to finish 3rd place in the entire division. That is so crazy. And it's crazy because it's one of the things where we could have done more. We didn't beat the Browns, we tied them, and then we lose again. We did beat the Ravens once, and then we did do it twice, but again, you know, those losses to, you know, the Browns, you know, if we turned these games against the Browns into W's, we would have clinched the AFC North and had the best record in the entire AFC in the process. However, since we didn't do that, we got to go on the road to play against the Kansas City Chiefs. So we'll sim this game and, you know, see what happens. Alright, so we did something that hasn't been done in a very long time and can only happen in a video game for right now. The Bengals won a playoff game, and we did it convincingly in the process. We beat the Chiefs 21-0. You love to see that. And now we go on the road once again. We go to New England to play against the Patriots, who have the best record in the AFC. We're one step away from the AFC Championship game. Let's see if we can actually make it. Alright guys, so we simulate the divisional matchup and the magic ends. We lose to the New England Patriots 31-27. Just a heartbreaking way to lose, as we were winning going into the 4th quarter, and you know, we found a way to lose it. So that sucks to see that. Not only that we didn't go 16-0 in this experiment, but we also, you know, didn't even win a Super Bowl in the process, you know, but it is what it is. So we'll go ahead and check the final stats before we sign off. So Lamar Jackson actually did have a pretty historic season with his throwing arm. He had 51 touchdowns, you know, over, you know, 4,300 yards passing, and, you know, did it with a 72% completion percentage too. So very efficient from Lamar Jackson, so you like to see that. Meanwhile, with the running game, Raheem Mostert was kind of close to 1,000 yards, didn't quite get there, but also nearly had double-digit touchdowns. Matt Breida had the 2nd most carries and used to get 750 yards roughly and 4 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor also found the end zone 4 times despite a lack of carries throughout the season. Finally, Lamar Jackson, only 50 carries and not that many rushing yards in the process. You would think you would expect more, you know, but I guess Madden doesn't like Lamar Jackson scrambling, at least in the simulations. Receivers, it was actually Henry Ruggs III, a rookie on this squad, that led the team in receiving yards, over 1,000 yards and 15 touchdowns too. Henry Ruggs really killed it in his first season in the NFL. But he didn't lead the team in receptions though. It looks like Evan Ingram did lead the team in receptions, had 87 catches, also for nearly 1,000 yards as well, followed by Marquise Brown and Tyreek Hill, who each had over 80 catches. Tyreek Hill was also a guy that had double-digit touchdowns. He had 10 touchdowns this season, and then Evan Ingram almost reached that mark with 9. And then finally, Deion Jones did lead the team in tackles this season with 98 total tackles to his name. Isaiah Simmons actually wasn't too far behind him as well. He had 87 total tackles to his name. We also did a really good job getting to his quarterback, and while Daniel Hunter did fall off a little bit as the season wore on, he still did really good. He had 12 total sacks this season, and not to be outshined, Josh Allen also had 9 sacks himself, with a bunch of other guys getting there and hitting the quarterback over the course of the season. Meanwhile, for interceptions, Denzel Ward led the team with 5 interceptions to his name, followed by Darnell Savage with 4. Dante Jackson and Shaquem Griffin, despite only having like 1 arm, was able to intercept the pass 2 times. So really good for Shaquem Griffin. He's one of my favorite non-Bengals on the defensive end, so really happy for him actually. We did also force multiple fumbles. Actually, Isaiah Simmons forced 2 of them, with Shaquem Griffin also forcing a fumble himself. However, we only recovered 1 of them, as Shaquem Griffin also fell on a fumble. We did also get a defensive touchdown throughout the season, and it looks like it's Denzel Ward that took one to the house. It looks like it was probably off of one of his 5 interceptions of the season. So a great season for Denzel Ward, former Ohio State Buckeye. So that is going to do it here for this experiment. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you smash that like button, as well as hit subscribe if you happen to be new and enjoying what you see on the channel. This is John J Gaming on the mic, hoping you guys have a wonderful day. Take care, everybody.
found him.